All right. So, welcome to your last lesson for the year theoretical, right? And we will speak of managing tenant, key principles, VABJs, the HBAR 330s. I know it's marked as H radio. It's also done there as well. But this is the last lesson, and it's very short, as you can see on the side there. We are going to just close up with some key principles that you need to know, and just as a sidebar. So, looking forward, we still have another, like I said, we have another 4 weeks. If you are watching this in this week, in week six, right, we still have another 4 weeks of broadcasting. Then we will obviously meet up in class. We can go through the S1. We will go through the S1. That is about podcasting. And then we'll start having individual one on one sessions that you can book from then onwards till you have to hand in. And it's your final submission week for the summative, right? Okay. All right. So let's round this up and see for the next, like I say, couple of minutes. We're going to go back all the way back to your Beyond Powerful Radio, but it is cited within your Next Level Radio books. Remember Valerie Geller? Yeah, yeah, she's back for some key principles that you can note for yourself as a presenter, right? So things like the presenter is speaking, and we've said this before, and we've discussed this to many lengths, speaking to your listener and not reading in the context of, for example, quoting, or you are, like I say, you want to cite something from a particular website, it doesn't matter. There you can actually read and make it convincing, be very transparent when you are doing the show. But the rest of it is speaking to the audience, and you have to obviously own that particular content piece and your prep in general to be able to freely be able to have a conversation to and with your conversation. With your audience, right? Okay. The presenter is going to be using visual metaphors to create the story that they are telling. Sometimes we do need metaphors, right? In being able to really explain a certain maybe a little bit more of a complex train of thought that is maybe very particular to us. So we want to compare it to like a bigger metaphor. What is a metaphor? You know that, for example, we'll say that running a race, an actual physical race in the Olympics with a number of hurdles, is a metaphor for how you get through your own year here at Boston Media House. And as you may trip or you may fumble or whatever it may be, you still got to complete that race. You still want to, and you want to get to the end, right? Even though those obstacles are in the way. The presenter is very passionate, fun, and humorous. Things that you will note we mark you on in the formative three. And sounds like they actually want to be on air, right? It doesn't make actually sense to be, I don't know, like a manager and work with people who don't actually want to be at your company, making sure that your clients and customers are, under good care, whatever it is, your products are high quality, your service is great, whatever. So it makes also no sense for a radio station to, home a presenter that doesn't want to be there. So you must sound like you want to be on air. Some days you might not actually feel like it, but when you switch on that mic, you put your bags, say you that baggage at the door, and you do a great job. The presenter is a character who listeners want to create a certain imaginary figure around. So they might start picturing again the length of your hair, maybe what you might look like at the gym, and who your friends are, or how you are when you go out, like at a club, or maybe even if they might picture you as a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You never know. The thing is, as long as they are picturing you in an imaginative way, not imaginatory, because that would be fake, but an imaginative way, then that means you've captured their attention, right? Okay. The presenter does talk, or does take the audience on a journey all the time, all the time. We just want to take them from point A to point B to make sure that we do get the job done correctly. It's personal, and it's not private. We've discussed this once again. Once you cross that bridge, you really, really can very rarely come back from how that audience or that listener will picture you from then on or there on out, right? The presenter would be fun, right? To spend time with off air. As I said, they want to think of you as a bit of a friend, someone cool. So if they're going to meet you, should they meet you at an outside broadcast, or let's say you've got like a bit of an event, whatever you're hosting, it should be the person that you are on air because that is you and you are that, right? So spending time with you should be fun, right? Because you are this outgoing, like, um, uh, you know, uh, a, a bit of an extrovert, definitely a social human being as well, that likes people, right? Because your interest is in people, your investment is in people and what their lives are about, right? The presenter serves the listener to ensure that they are entertained, excuse me, informed, inspired, persuaded, or connected. And I think that's self explanatory, right? Just to make sure that you're ticking those boxes off when you are creating content. The presenter is in control of their show. Very important, right? Because, man, chaos in the studio is terrible. It's a really horrible experience, and I'm sure you have had that experience now while you have been learning. All right, so if we look at the story that you are telling at any one particular point, well, it's got to be conversational, and it has to connect with that listener on a personal level. The transition that you go from one story to another, or maybe you're continuing, let's say, one link to another. It's the same story, reads as smooth and seamless, and do not act as walls uh, are uh, are there between segments. You got to feel like, okay, maybe something is ended now. We're going to go into a bit of a teaser, generic link. We might go into a competition, whatever it may be, and it doesn't seem that to the listener that they feel lost at any one point. They need to feel as though it's easy and it is cool to listen to, right? The story that you are telling is engaging, right? Make sure the connection is there. Make sure that you're sparking off some kind of train of thought that they're like, yes, definitely, that's me, or yeah, I didn't think about that, or I saw that too, or I watched that on television. It's entertaining, it's powerful, and it is creative. You got to put a new spin on what it is that you are presenting to your listener and your audience. It's applicable to their life, whether in health, emotion, or money. And the story has an interesting topic that the listener would want to actually discuss with others off air, as we mentioned before in the previous lesson about that concept of the water cooler effect, right? Um, and might also inspire them to go share something on social media or maybe create their own content or again maybe change something in their life or go take some kind of action, like get their driver's license or maybe register their car, re-register their car, or, go pay those fines, whatever it may be, right? You can see my train of thought was going right in one way. Anyway, the story presents unique information that listeners would not hear anywhere else. So new, right? The story does not carry on longer than it necessarily has to be. So when it's done and it's dead and it's over, right? Do not mourn the loss of content that has played its part and you are done with it. And so is the listener at the same time. Move on. Right, you got better things to. You got other things, not better things. All show elements need to be at their best, but you got other things to get to. Right, the story takes some risks to surprise that audience and that listener. So yeah, just think out of the box, push a little bit of a boundary at the end of the day, and surprise them, surprise yourself as well, and surprise them in the obviously in the same breath. The story is interesting enough for the audience to not worry about time. They're not looking at their watch. They're not looking at the time and saying, "Man, ugh, like this is boring. It's taking forever." Or that was on the other extreme, way too short. Like, what was that even about? I don't even know what's going on anymore. Right. So, so have a good sense of what is right and what is wrong all round, I think, which is something very, very, let me just make sure that I did not, uh, no, I didn't know. I thought I cut off some content there. Okay. So here's your checklist just to finish up the lesson. Yes or no? like check this with your shows that you do from here on out and into your further career on radio, right, and also your podcasting or whatever it is. Right. So yes or no? Was it anything that was worth listening to? Did you sell the basics? Did it have a goal? Right? Did you achieve that goal at the end of the day? Did you make your show or the show your own? Did you use active language, the present, right? And in the presence of present as a presenter, did you create pictures in the listeners' minds, engage them like what is that? Thrill them, right? Did you relate to the music, right, and the brand that you are working under or for? Did you create a unique daily show? Did you facilitate the flow of the show? Did you do your job? Again, in all these aspects, did you use different points of view? Very important, right? So that you do not sound at any one point that you are an extremist or a wingist or whatever it is, right? Did you utilize drama effectively and did you try something new? And that leads us to the very end of our theory. Go through the ordered Snoop feedback from example 8.c page 320 in your books to apply the methodologies you've learned about and the checklists provided so that you are industry ready, which is literally what we do every single time when I meet with you. All right, well, that's a wrap of the theory, and I'll see you in your sessions, right? Cheers.